पे भी अलग। बट चेक कर लेती हूँ फेसबुक पे कैसे देखना है।
YouTube पे also you're live. I've got one notification.
हाँ यूट्यूब पे ओनली आई एम टेलिंग, यूट्यूब पे भी अलग, फेसबुक पे अभी तक नहीं किया है।
You said Facebook पे
सॉरी
live.
सॉरी।
तो Facebook पे लाइव कर रहे हैं अभी? 3 मिनट तो बाकी है।
बट अपने लोग भी अभी पूरा ज्वाइन नहीं हुआ। मम्मी
Yeah,
लोग।
3 minute. Wait till 4 5 or
हम्म।
something. Just unmute. We'll wait for the next 2 3 minutes and then start at around 4 2 4 3. Just wait for everybody to join. Perfect. बाकी सबका म्यूट है ना?
यूट्यूब पे सुनो।
Okay. So later I said we'll start at 2 2 4 3. No form from one. New lead. Keep sending. Ashish Lakra is now informed. See, is anybody entering? This is joining. Tell everybody outside the intro. Waiting room, admit all. Just keep admitting now. That's all. Wait for the next 15 minutes.
फेसबुक पे लाइव कर दो।
कर दो. Everybody's videos are off. Video and audio. Answer. Is Dattara this as a leader? He just, this thing, Dilip also was a lead. So like one the level actually. And देख और कोई आ रहा है क्या? कितना बार 30 तक ले लेगा? 29, come on. और कोई है? Let's start. Anybody else there in the waiting room? How to bring them? ये कौन है? Anybody else trying?
Okay, let's start. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining our masterclass on global investing. A Friday evening, not the best time for educative series, but I guess it may be a good start to the weekend. So that's where we are. Now, why we are doing this? I just wanted to set the context before I hand over to our eminent speaker, Mr. Prashant Ajmera, and my colleague Nitin, who will be taking us through this masterclass. At the very basic, if you have noticed, one of the foundations of our social culture is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which basically means the world is my family, which by extension means the world is my home. There are about 3.2 crore Indians, as per the latest data, who live and work abroad. That includes persons of Indian origin who have perhaps taken a foreign passport. There are about 25 lakh Indians who migrate to different countries everywhere, every year, whether that's for working, that's for a permanent migration, etc. What that also means that we as Indians are getting more and more connected to the world because those who are migrating are our family members, our friends, and we remain connected. So we get to know a lot more about what's happening elsewhere. We also travel a lot. In the last 10 years, there's a paradigm shift in how we as Indians look at our education, look at our holidays and the like. So we travel a lot. So we get exposed to different cultures and also different economies by extension. Now, what this means is that, even in the home context, if you just look at everything that we consume, there's a very good chance that you are, somewhere connected to the global economy or importing something. For example, let's look at cars or, motorbikes. Most of the brands that we buy in India are either from, Europe or Japan or Korea, etc., etc. And that applies to food, that applies to clothes. Look around and everywhere you'll find that we are buying or importing, spending money overseas, whether when we travel overseas or even when we are in India, we buy things which are, global brands. So we end up, sending money overseas. So that's a very strong consumption pattern. What's not happening, or which, if you look at the data, is not really picked up well, is our investments overseas. So we are sending money overseas, we are spending overseas, we are buying an Apple product, but we are not buying the Apple stock. So we are helping the Apple stock appreciate by buying the Apple product, but we are not benefiting from the appreciation of that stock. So from a personal experience, even in developing countries in Southeast Asia, I've seen more than 20% typically gets invested overseas in different currencies, while that number is less than 1% for us in India. So to my mind, that's a mega trend, which is just at the cusp, is just a start, is going to change significantly. and we got to play our part in bringing the right products, bringing the right kind of education to help people capitalize this. There are a few myths why this is not happening. I think this is where mutual fund industry was 25 years ago. There's a lot of uncertainty, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, some myths that we need to kind of get over before this trend is fully capitalized. So people are worried about, do I need a lot of money to be able to invest overseas? The answer is no. Is it too complicated? Come on, India has 1.5 crore crypto investors. Can it get more complicated than that? What's the taxation? Personal experience, I can tell you, is pretty sorted. It's very easy. Your chartered accountant can help you. What about government rules? Now, if you look at the liberalized remittance scheme, there is a lot of support from the regulators. How about currencies? Is it safe? So I think all these questions need to be answered before this
Recording in
trend
progress.
is before this trend is capitalized. And that's where we bring this masterclass. What we are doing today is the very first episode of it, where we start with the why of global investing. Why do you want to do it at all? Why should we do it at all? Before in the future, series will move to how and what and how of it. So let me hand over to my colleague Nitin to take over and start with Mr. Prashant Rajmera.
Thank you, Abhishek, and good evening, everyone. Today, I have this privilege of introducing a distinguished guest, a speaker, who will be talking through the entire global piece. Mr. Prashant Ajmera is a reputed Indian immigration lawyer. He's been in practice since 1997. More than 25 years experience in the field of corporate and immigration law, international trade, and assisting HNIs and UHNIs obtaining residency and abroad. He is also the founder of the Ajmera Law Group and the author of a renowned book which is titled Millionaires on the Move. So, without much of ado, I hand over to Mr. Prashant Ajmera ji. Just one request to everyone: any questions that you have, please post it on the chat and do keep your audio in mute. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nitin. Let me just start the first slides presentations. So yes, thank you very much for Epsilon Money to invite me to this first masterclass. So that's really an honor and privilege to do this masterclass. And generally, when we talk about the investing globally, as the Abhishek has rightly mentioned, we think about the complications, why we should do it, and even if the other peoples are doing something into it, they talk about only one aspect. Probably return in foreign currencies or foreign stocks, foreign investment products, real estate is better than India. That's the only one aspect they talked about it. If you look at the companies who are talking about, whether you take the mutual fund companies who are offering the global mutual funds, the offshore funds, and other products what they're offering. But as the Abhishek has mentioned, then we have to look at the so many other aspects which has changed in our investment the expenses habits or spending habits, and that needs to be looked into it. So let me just start with this one, the very simple things or a few questions, 3-4 questions I'm going to ask you. We used to talk about a few years back, 25, 30 years back, that what would be the biggest ticket size of your expenditures for your family. Generally, it used to be the house. But now, as more and more parents want their children to study abroad, the biggest ticket size is the child's foreign education. And that's the biggest expenses the family is going to make in their lifetime. But we hardly spend any time, or we take any advice, or we do any planning. And that's where the problem arises, and we see the lot of financial problems are arising with the family. The second one, what failure in your life will make you the most unsatisfied? Again, the answer is always the child's failures and education in career is affecting you. That whatever happens to us, whether you are coming from a very ordinary family or whether you are a multimillionaires, but if something happens to your child, their careers or their health or their job they are not getting it, or they are not getting settled, it affects you, because every parents, whether at any age, you are always looking for your children's. So children's future in education and career is your priority. But during our lifetime of educations and our careers or a business and a profession, whatever you're doing it, we do not take a concrete steps to make this things successful for our children. We think that okay, we earn the monies, and if we have earned money and if we have a good corpus, it's going to take care of my children's futures and educations and career. It's not. Now we are in 2022 and almost at the 2023. That needs to change. The parents and the children needs to look at this perspective in much more systematic way. Your financial goals are for yourselves and your families. What is that financial goal? Probably you want to move to a bigger house, 2 holidays in a year in India, wish to send your kids to the best schools in India, best medical plans, life insurance, and retirements. And for that, you are doing a financial planning in India by investing into real estate, financial instruments such as equity, bonds, insurance, FDs, mutual funds, other fund kind of funds, gold, and alternative investments, cryptocurrencies, and list is endless. But all this investment is into the rupees. We are not doing anything into the foreign. But say now, as the Abhishek has mentioned, now people in citizen in India or people in India are thinking that not only I should have a house in India, but I would like to have something abroad. 2 holidays in India? No, not anymore. I'd like to go to Dubai or Singapore or go to Europe rather than going to Goa and Kerala. So that spending habit is changing. Wish to send the kids after 12 standards, not only for a master's. I want my children to study abroad. Probably they might settle there or may not settle there. We want a best medical plan. We want an insurance plan, not only in India, but abroad. Retirement semi-abroad. That means I would like to stay a few years, few months in a year in foreign country. So these are the various things are changing. But do we have, as Abhishek mentions, that our spending habit is changing? But do we have any financial plan to do this one? And answer is no. And that I'll explain to you in a systematic manner by showing you the exact data from RBI. These are not the surveys or these are not the conclusion. So that means, as the Abhishek mentions, that Vasudhaiva Kutumbam, that means we are becoming a citizen of the world. And then if we are thinking a global, and we are not making a plan for them, then it just remains as a wish. And it can turn into a financial disaster for a family. Why this has happened or why this has started happening is, so very quickly in 2008, the government of India started the liberalized remittance schemes known as an LRS. As of this year, any Indian citizen can remit, which could be an investment or it could be an expenses up to 250,000 US dollar per year. So which could be for holidays, educations, medicals, and for all this purpose we send out. But are we doing enough for the investment into real estate, stocks, debts, mutual funds, and companies? And we don't. Because if you look at this data in front of you, which is an RBI generated data for a period of almost 12 to 13 years, the last years, we basically, as an Indian citizens or Indian family, remitted almost $19 billion plus, $19 billion plus, even after the COVID effect. The net remittance out of India was $19 billion. This is not the company. Again, I'm repeating, it's only Indian citizens, people, family like me and you, remitted out of India. But out of that one, almost $10 billion, as you can see, item number 1, 2, and 3 here, were for the purpose of child's educations and their living expenses, or we remitted to them by way of gift. But if you look at the item number 4, 5, and 6, the investment was only for a period of, only in the amount of $1 billion. But also, as Abhishek mentions, we spend a lot of money in travel, almost $7 billion. So you can see out of the $20 billion, we spend almost $17 billion for expenses, but we have not diversified our portfolio globally to put the money into foreign financial products or real estates or something like that. So as the Abhishek mentions, that at least we should do that one 15 to 20%. And particularly for the children's educations, we should do it because that's the largest ticket size you're going to have that expenses in your life. So why not to do about that? So now you see the our change in the spending habits. Before 2007, we were not thinking about spending money and going for a holidays and educations, real estates. But after 2007, it's all changed. But what we are doing right now, we are doing it that earning in India and continue to spend in dollars, a sizable amount of our fortunes or of our earnings, we are spending in dollars. So as and when we need the dollars, we go out and purchase the foreign currencies and remit it or take it with us to the foreign country and spend it. And that needs to change. Not only uh, return is there, but this is the another aspect to look at it, that if you are spending more in a foreign currency, don't you think that it would be a prudent to look at the investment part of it? So coming to the next slide, if we $17 billion, which amounts to, as I told you, 13,600 crores, converted our spending habits to our investment habits. Now, why it is not happening or why we are not investing? Because for the study abroad particularly, we think that that's the only way to settle abroad. We go to our consultants who are not regulated in India for our advice. But there are a number of options are available, but people do not explore it before. Lack of knowledge by investors, amongst the investors and the professionals. We believe that ticket size for the foreign investment is going to be only millions and billions of dollars. But believe me, you can invest as little as $1,000, $2,000, or in SIP. You can do an SIP with few $100s. Scare of FEMA rules, Foreign Exchange Management Act. We believe that, oh, if we send the money abroad, we're going to have a trouble with the enforcement director or an ED, income tax department will be after you. No, those are the days gone. It's now straightforward and simple rules. And it's very easy. It's no more a criminal offense. So your bank is in a position to remit the money from your own saving accounts. But there is not enough taxation advice, how to structure our investments. No big players are making any marketing efforts. Government is also not doing anything in this one. So there is a lack of knowledge is there, and that's why the Ajmera Law Group and Epsilon Money is taking these initiatives to educate the professionals and investors and equip them with the knowledge they need, either for personally for themselves or bring it to their clients and tell them that why you should start investing. Guys, it's not that complicated, and it's not that big amount of money you have to invest. You have to just do it very simply and systematically and know that how it works. So what we do or how we assist you to achieve your goals, investing in India as an Ajmera Law Group and Epsilon Money in a one platforms, we assist you to make an investment in India in Indian products, Indian financial products. But the two other aspects we take into consideration is residency and citizenship by investment and investment globally. So our two law firms has come together to provide a complete 360-degree view of your investment health. That if you want your child to study abroad, if you are exposed and you are spending money abroad for the holidays, for the buying a goodies, buying a real estate, then you should diversify your portfolio. And that's why we are here as a one-stop solutions for you as an investors, if you are investors, or if you are financial professionals. We bring you the one-stop solutions that invest in India. We will help you with the Epsilon Money platform. We will also help you with the investing globally with the one platform, one account. You can make an investment into the 50 stock market of the world. Nobody has that product available in India. And residency and citizenship by investment, if that's the route you want to take for your futures and your children's futures, that's also we help you. So we have this complete suite of products and services available to look into your financial plan, and that is a global plan. So residency and citizenship by investment, and why you should obtain the residency and citizenship by investment or just make a global investment, because these are the two aspects we are taking into, or these two products we talk about it, but why you have to look at it. So the number one is residency and citizenship. We are looking into it because it's the children's futures, and if they are going abroad with your residency and citizenship, then your education fees can be reduced by 80%. Their immigration is sought out. Your retirements and all your business expansion, professional expansion is taken care. Third one is obtaining the non-resident status. The fourth one is quality of life. The diversification of portfolio. The family reunion. Probably you are the one family left here in India and you have most of your families in other part of the world and you want to move there. So this residency and citizenship by investment can help you. Tax planning, visa-free travel, international real estate portfolio you want to build. And lastly, the retirements. You might think that, okay, you know what? In the winter time, it's good to stay in India, but in the summertime, when it gets too hot, I would like to go to some cooler place in Europe. Why not go and spend 3-4 months there, or in North America, or somewhere in Europe? That's all those things can be achieved by residency and citizenship by investment. But the most important aspect about the Indian families now looking at the residency and citizenship by investment is that the parents who wants their children to study abroad, they should start looking at this one as early in their life. Because if you are already a resident of foreign country and you have received a citizenship, then you will be paying the local student fees, and that can reduce from the international student fees to the local student fees reductions or saving for you up to 80%. So changing your spending habits, that's the number one, we look at it. Number two, difference in foreign tuition fees and a local international student fees. So if you look at and compare this ones, the two scenarios I have taken from the study in a Penn University in USA and study in the University of Toronto in Canada, that if you want your child to study abroad, and that is the biggest expenses of your life, you can see that as a local student, you'll be paying around or expenses for over the period of 4 years of a bachelor's degree, it's about a 1 CR. If you are a local student, but if you are an international student, it's becoming a 1.5 CR. And now there is a big trend to go to Canada. If you look at the fees of the local and expenses of your local student is 53 lakhs rupees compared to that one. If you are an international student, it costs you 1.6 crore rupees. So there is a significant saving in the fees if you have a residency or citizenship of that country. What happens is that with my 30 years of an experience lately, I see the parents comes to us when it is too late, because the parents will come and talk to us when their child is in grade 12 or is just in a second or third year of bachelor's degree or finish the bachelor's degree. It's too late. The earlier you start planning, you can look into the more these options we can offer you, and you can decide that what you want to do. Particularly, this is the slide. Parents want their children to study abroad and in USA. But if you look at this column number 4, and you can see that if you send your child to study abroad, this is a great idea. But also you need to know that the waiting period for a green card for Indian children who are going to USA is 10 to 12 years as of now. 10 to 12 years. In that 10 to 12 years time, that means your child will get a green card after 18 to 20 years. So when we send our child to study abroad for an undergraduate or a master's degree, they realize that, oh, our children's life is set. But when they reach into USA, and after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, they realize that, oh, to get our green card, that means from student visas to H1 visas and to the green card is going to take anything between 12 to 15 years times or 20 years times. So that's also need to be looked into. The change in the stock in the currency rate. So we see over the period of time that in 2008 the US dollar was 48 to 49 rupees to 1 US dollars. Now it's almost 81, 82 rupees. So there is a big exchange rate change in that one. So if you had $1 million in your, saving, so 5 crore rupees if you have saved, you thought that it will be a 1 crore rupees, 1 million US dollars. But because of the exchange rate, your amount has become reduced almost to 628,000 US dollars. So you lost almost 35% just because of the currency fluctuations. So that also plays a very important part when you decided earlier, you decided you can do this planning by making an investment or obtaining the residency and citizenship by investment. Because remember, as I told you in my earlier slide, that the child's foreign education, particularly for an undergraduate 4 years degree, is the biggest expenses of your life. And if you have not one, but 2 or 3 kids, you can imagine that it can be up to 700,000 US dollar. That means you are looking at up to 5 to 6 crore rupees for your 3 children's education. And that is all white money we are talking about. It. Don't you think that we need a planning for that one? And the earlier we do it, we have a better safety. Rise in education cost in Western countries, in universities, and in college, in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, in Europe. Education cost is rising by 25%. So that's also other things is adding, excuse me, to your planning. And that's the reasons you have to do the early planning. So now we learn the 4 new facts that there is a change in our spending habits, that now it's no more a global, but it's international. We have learned that there is a difference in the local students and international student fees. And there is a currency fluctuations, there is a rise in a cost. So this various aspect requires an early attention in your life for your financial planning. And that's why the Epsilon Money and Ajmer Allah Group is here to provide one platforms to provide you all these products and services at one place. So what are your options? Generally, we think that, oh, I send my child abroad for a higher education and life is set. Not more in 2023. You have a number of options are there, and those options needs to be looked into it from a professional like our law firms, not by a student visa agent and a consultant. Studying into college, studying into university, 3 years or 4 years of bachelor's degree. You are going for a licensed professions like a law degree or MBBS, chartered accountant, dentist, pharma, physio. Direct immigration is possible for Canada, Australia, New Zealand. You want to find a company who is ready to offer you a work permit, and that work permit can be converted into citizenships, probably marriage or a family sponsorships. Or ultimately, you want to look at it, the residency and citizenship by investment, or the last options. You don't want to look into all these things, but you are early enough in your life. Probably you just started your life as a young couple, you have your first child or on your way, but you want your child to study abroad. You do not wish to take the residency and citizenship by investment, but at least you want to diversify your portfolio globally and start investing small amount of money outside India into various products. So how do we do it? So when it comes to the residency and citizenship by investment, that our law firm takes into considerations, the understanding your family profile, understanding your child's and family goal. We do one-to-one consultations, then we do the global career planning for your child, showing you various paths and pros and cons, which I just mentioned in my earlier slide. Educations of the path selected, executions of the path selected, and each family is a special, and our services is customized for the residency and citizenship by investment. But for any reasons, if you think that you do not wish to consider the residency and citizenship by investment, that is also fine. That's the right decisions or a good decisions. But again, if you are spending money abroad, you want your child to study abroad, then you have to look at your comprehensive financial solutions with our partners, Epsilon Money. And what they do is Epsilon Money is our fulfillment partner for international investments. They provide access to the market across the globe on their platforms, which has a US and developed market stocks, bonds, emerging markets and Asian market stocks and bonds, stock based on global themes and select sectors like IT, automobiles, stocks and ETF across the globe, currencies, futures, metals, and much more. Multiple global assets can be accessed through the one single account. And that's where we are the only and a pioneering firms or a group of professionals has come together to give you a 360-degree views of for yourself, if you are an investors, or you for your clients, because we are ready to work with the financial professionals, portfolio advisors, mutual fund distributors. If you think that you have a client whom you can present this ones, add these services to your present portfolio of services, and we'll be more than happy to work with you. So the comprehensive product suite is traditional products, alternative investment plan, insurance, global investment, taxation services, family office services, global mobility services, and the loans and all these things, loans and advances are taken care by our two firms come together, Epsilon Money and Ajmera Law Group, to provide you the services. These are the one platform for all your solutions, strong global propositions by investment, immigrations, and education, customized solution for each of your goal, cost optimizations, unique assets allocation methodologies, world-class customer services, both digitals and physicals. And we launched this whole suite, started only in July of this year, and we already have a presence in 7 or 8 cities, if I'm not mistaken, and we are ready to provide these services pan-India. And our intention is that in the next 10 to 12 months' time, by next year this time, we want to be a leader in this industry. Particularly if you are interested in knowing more about that how to plan for your child's foreign education, then you want to learn more about it. This is the one book I have written, which is available on Amazon, Flipkarts, and digital version as well. How to plan for your child's foreign education in 2021. Have a look at this book. It's only 100 page, but it will give you a comprehensive good ideas that why and how you should look into this particular aspect, which is going to be the biggest ticket size of your family to make an investment, and why you have to educate yourselves and do the planning. So thank you very much, guys. That's the time I have it for, and I think I tried to cover as quickly as possible the number of points and giving you pointers. On each of this topic, we can do a separate master class. But just to start with, we wanted to give you some highlights that where we are going, and we're going to continue this series on a monthly basis with Epsilon Money and Ajmera Law Group. And we started with the in-house speaker on this one. But as we know that they're looking to the complexity of the subjects, we're going to bring the different speakers on a different this one. So keep continue looking for our master class on a regular basis. We try to do it probably like a first or second Friday of the month, so it become a consistent in this respect. Once again, thank you very much, Epsilon Money, and I'll be more than happy to take your questions. You have it. I'm sure Nitin, you have some questions. Abhishek and the attendees are having some questions. I'm here to more than happy to answer those.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The session has been very insightful. You have shared a good amount of light on how things to be done. What we will do now is we'll just take one small poll that we have. We'll take not more than a minute. Post
Sure,
which
sure.
we'll be having a Q&A round. So can we have the poll, please? Okay, the poll should be on your screen right now.
मिनिमाइज तो कर उसको, मिनिमाइज कर,
It's going well.
keep it up, keep it up. If you are able to see, just put it up, put it up, put it up. International vacation. Then that time when he announces end the poll, not to be
So it's only 23. We are 32. So few people are not answering. Move your mouse. Do some more click. Probably they just started the videos and gone away. Started the Zoom. 24 out of
Okay,
32.
so I think we can end the poll, but I'm not surprised because these are the two important, what I should say, two important things that anybody would look into when they're thinking about international market or investing internationally. One is obviously your child's education, and the second one is the annual international vacation. So thank you for participating in the poll. So
So,
what we are,
so
what,
in that one, let me just give you an insight that when we
yeah,
talk about the 11, I think 10 people mentioned out of the 24 that annual international vacation. So imagine that now you created your say real estate in London or in somewhere in Spain, and then you're given it out on a rental, and you have gone there for a vacation now in Europe. So generally what happens is when you go for a vacation, you take five, 10,000, $15,000 with you to spend there. But if you have made an investment, then you go to the Spain, travel the Europe for a 15 days, come back, and now you have a $8,000 in your pocket to bring it back to in India, rather than you taking from here and spending in Europe and bringing it. So that's the beauty of this foreign investment. People don't realize it that how it is going to help you. But yeah, that's the way to do it. Yes,
thanks.
Nitin, go ahead, please.
Thanks, sir. So, what we had done, we had reached out to our investors if they had some specific questions for you. So, maybe I'll take that. So, the first question that we have is, what are the benefits with reference to child's education by taking dual residency of any European country?
Any European country. See, in European countries, you have to realize is Nitin that because European country except the Ireland and UK is out, they are non-speaking English-speaking countries. Because in Europe the language is different, like just the way in which we have each state in India has a different language, and they are not open for an immigrations. What do I mean by open for an immigration? That means that if you study there, they are automatically the immigration is not available to you, which is very easy to do it in Canada, easy to do it in UK, Australia, New Zealand, even in USA compared to the European countries. So if you have taken a residency in Europe by going for an investment into the Portugal, Spain, and this one, then the obviously you saved on the fees, your residency for your child is already secured, and then living across the Europe in 28 countries is easy. And Europe is right now open with just buying some real estate of 2 to 3 crores or 4 crore rupees, or maximum up to €500,000. And you have a residency of that country. You have a minimum residency requirement, and your family is resident of European countries. So you have a double benefits on that.
Okay, okay. One more thing when it comes to immigration, a perception that people have in mind is that it takes a lot of time, right? So the next question is purely on that. From when should one plan for taking a residency? That's the first part of it. Second part of it, how much time does it really take to seek a residency?
See, residency, as I said in my presentations, Nitin, that most of the parents are thinking about it when the child is finished or about to finish the grade 12 or a bachelor's degree. That is too late. Because then you are not going to get your residency done in a 6 months or a 3 months or short period of time. And if you say you want to take a residency, the earlier you take, at least when your children are in the secondary school, and if you take that one, so by the time, because the process can take anything between 1 year to 3 years times to get your business immigration visa. So if you come to us that when your child is in a grade 12 or child is a 20 years old and say that now I'm ready to invest 800,000 in USA to get a green card, it would be too late. So the advice would be that you take it earlier, and which country you want to do that also you have to decide. So the earlier you do that one, it's better for you, but average time I would say for the European residency is about 6 months to 1 year. Canada and USA between 2 and 2.5 years. And with this COVID, the backlog is a little bit higher. So you don't think that, okay, I put up the money and my petition is done or my residency is received. Particularly this English speaking country, it takes an awful amount of time with the documentations, going through the process, working with the lawyers, and then putting it up. So you have to give yourself a time as well.
Yeah. So basically, earlier the better is what.
Earlier the better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So the next question is very relevant, and a couple of our investors have asked us this question. When you talk about global residency, again, one more perception is that you need good amount of investment. The investment amount that is needed is too high. So can you throw some light on this? What is the investment amount that is
See,
required?
that's again a perception is that, oh, yeah, I have to invest the big amount of money. But to be honest with you, Nitin, the USA, if you're looking at the USA, the investment amount is 800,000 US dollar. So it's about a 6.5 CR we are talking about, right? So that's the highest. If you're looking at the country like Canada, the investment amount for the people who wants to come and invest and start some business is as low as 200,000 Canadian, which is 1.2 CR. But it requires also the lot many other things to take into the consideration. So for the residency and citizenship, the investment amount is not that high, but the other requirement which needs to be fulfilled, that could be putting some people off. But if you're looking at the European countries, as little as 250,000 euro to a half a million euro, which is about, I would say, 2.5 CR to 5 CR range, you will have a residency by buying some real estate in those countries like Spain, Portugal, or Greece, and you can be a resident of that country and you got it. If you want to obtain the citizenship of some Caribbean countries because you want to become an NRI, you want to have a travel-free, visa-free travel to the 130, 40 countries in the world, you can go to the Caribbean islands, take the passport of that country, which can take 6 months time, and investment is only about 150 to 250,000 US dollars, depending on the size of the or composition of your family.
Right, right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next question is again a very relevant question. What we know is the residency about, we know US, we know Canada. Which are the other countries, sir, that offer residency by investment?
See, obviously the Canada, USA, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. These are the 5 English-speaking countries, and that's where we are. Most of the Indians are there because it's an English-speaking country. So in India, our whatever might be the regional language, but English is our second language for all of us. Even today, we are all doing these communications coming from a different states and across India, but doing in English. So with all the British things, and those are the easy one to do it. But after 2012, the European countries has opened up their doors for the residency and citizenship by investment. So again, the Portugal, Spain, Greece, Malta, Cyprus, Bulgaria, Latvia, Tunisia, Turkey, these are the countries who has opened up their doors whereby you can make an investment, buy some real estates, and obtain the residencies or a direct citizenship. Those are the European countries you are looking at it. Then you are looking at the Caribbean islands, the Dominica, Grenada, Antigua and Barbados, Saint Lucia. Those are the Caribbean countries where you can obtain the direct citizenship and you can do it. With that, also the favorite one which has become with the Indian is now the golden visa of UAE, Dubai. Before, as we all know, that it was not allowed that you can purchase the real estate. which was allowed few years back, but there was no visa given. But now, in order to attract the more investors to the UAE region, now you can buy a certain real estate and you can have a 5 years or 10 years golden visa. And as far as you continue to hold that real estate, that can be reviewed over the period of time. So more and more countries are opening their doors to welcoming the investors who wants to have the best of the both world. So more and more countries are opening within.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, on the live chat, we have a couple of questions. So, let me take the first one. So, this is a question that we get very often. Like, is it a good time to invest in India? Or is it a good time to invest in the equity market right now? The question for you, sir, is it a good time to invest globally right now?
See, the investment is when we talk about is in a returns terms, right? That okay,
Yes.
we make a good money, good return investment here. But as I made my presentations, what is your goal? If you are not exposed to yourself for a foreign currencies and foreign children's educations, foreign travels, then yes, you continue making an investment here. We have a FII coming to in India and making an investment. The growth is there. The startup market is there. So if you are looking for that financial growth, yes, India is an emerging market. There is no dispute about that one. But individually, when it comes to that I want my child to study in America or in Canada, I want my 2 holidays to be done. Should I diversify? Should I take it? Do I personal hedging by putting my property, my some investment into Europe or in a New York stock market? Why not?
Right.
And that's how we have to look at it on an individual basis. Even the people coming and asking questions about the recession. I'm not an economist. I'm a lawyer. I'm not an expert on that one. But as a Canadian citizen, I have lived out of India for 30 years. I've traveled the 45 countries in the world. This recession goes up and down over the period of time. As an individual, we are the small and medium-sized investors in the range of, say, probably 500,000 to 2 million, 5 million kind of doing it. And in that kind of a case, we have to look at it, our individual portfolios and what our family wants to do it, where our children are going and what we want to do it. Because this cycle is going to come up and down wherever you go in the world. You can't escape that. But you have to make your personal decisions. Oh, market US mein abhi kharab hai, US mein nahi karna chahiye. But talk about your child going to USA for a study. Should you do it or not?
Right.
And that's where you have to take a decision and diversify your portfolio. And as Abhishek mentioned, we are not saying that take all your money here in India and put everything in New York stock market. Diversify 10, 15, 20% abroad.
So, one more question, which is also important. Normally, we are talking about hard-earned money, yeah, right? We all know about US and UK, the citizenship, the residency by investment. But how about investing in these small countries, sir? How safe is our money?
For the means small countries like Portugal, Spain, and those.
Yes, yes, yes.
See, you have to realize it that unfortunately in India, when we talk about the immigration agent and consultants are not regulated. Number one. Whereas if you go to this Portugal, Spain, Greece, and all these countries, there are no immigration agent and consultants. They are only immigration lawyers.
Right.
And when it comes to the real estate, this real estate is considered by the government as a security. So it is regulated and monitored by the local government. So when you are looking at the Portugals, they have a mutual fund kind of a thing. They have an immigration fund as well, which is just like our mutual funds are being monitored here and license and permit is given. Same thing is done in that one. The real estate agents, like we have a RERA in India only in the last 5-6 years, they are having this compliance requirements for a long time. But what happens is that in India, when it comes to the immigration and visa, we go to a travel agents who are not regulated. We go to an agent and consultants who are not regulated. Because they provide a free advice, so we go to them. But we never want to consult the immigration lawyers and the real estate agent or a broker who is licensed in that country, where you will have a foolproof securities of your investment and everything.
Right, right, right.
And if you do that, well, yes, it will cost you a little bit of more money. There's not going to be a free lunches or a free advice, but you are secure. But people do not want to pay that initial money or a consultation fees. They are looking for a free advice, then that's what you are going to get.
So, see, the one more question. What is the normal procedure of getting this, the residency? Maybe say you can take an example of a country, say Grenada, right? How do we do it? How do we start the entire process?
So the way in which it works in Grenada, like let's take an example of Grenada. So in Grenada, it's a small island, probably a size of a one suburb of Bombay.
Hmm. Hmm.
Borivali, or you take the Malad or something like that, or a Ghatkopar. So this island country has only two things. One is a natural resource and a forest and fruits and vegetables. And they don't have any other income coming for a government to generate it and run it as a country. And these islands were the former colonies of a British or a European colonies and this one. So they have identified that if we want to grow as a country, to build the hotels or a resorts where we can bring the tourism to our country, how do we build it? So in order to build this, the hospitality industries in those island countries, this country has come up with these citizenship programs. So now they've identified the developers who makes an applications to the government, they obtain the license, and on that government website, they will say that these are the projects which has been approved by our government to make an investment, and it gives you a citizenship. So we work with a few of those in every of these islands, or even in European countries as well. And once you identify the country, then we bring you the one or two good projects which are again approved and licensed by the government. If you want to go and visit it, you can do it. We put all the documents together. We, as an immigration lawyer here in India, we work with the lawyer there only. Again, no agent, no consultant. And we work directly with the government agencies to make sure and secure that your investment is secure. So once we have all these documents done, then you pay a certain amount of fees to the government as your immigration processing fees, which is very high in these island countries. Then you are making an investment into a real estate. And once all your documents and everything is ready, the file is submitted. Within a 6 months time, you get your citizenship.
Right, right. So, in the interest of time, just one last question. So, was it the right time to invest in property in India? Maybe I think it's not in India. Maybe if they're talking of real estate abroad. Is this a good time to invest in real estate abroad?
Yes, because see, right now, if you look at the Canadian and American market and European market, after a long time, the interest rate is going up for the mortgage.
Right.
And in that country, as I lived for 30 years, I realized that when interest rate goes by 0.5%, the 80% of the population realizes that mera EMI बढ़ जाएगा. My EMI will increase. And that happens in India as well. But here we are not that much worried. But in those countries, people has borrowed sometimes many a times more than what they can afford. And they say that, okay, now EMI was $2,000, but from next month I have to pay for 2,500. Or if you are a new buyer, the amount is increasing. So if this pattern continues, the amount of investment in real estate would be a good time because it will start coming down.
Right. Right.
In the last 3-4 years, you will not believe, Nitin, New Zealand and Canada are the two countries where they have stopped the foreign investment in real estate because they realize that the property price is going so high.
Right.
That the affordability of the local people has become difficult, and they say we don't want any more investment into the residential real estate in our country, particularly in city like Vancouver and Toronto, in New Zealand, the whole country. They said that the foreigners, Chinese, Taiwanese, Koreans, and now even Indians are coming and making an investment into real estate with the cash money so much that the local people cannot afford it. So if you want your child to study in New Zealand, say for example, why don't you buy a house or an apartment right now and make an investment? So when your child goes there, it would be an ideal place to make an investment. And the good amount to make an investment in a foreign real estate portfolio is buying an apartment near to the university where your child is going. Because I'll give you an example. If you say take an example of the University of Toronto or University of Waterloo in Canada, or in Pennsylvania in USA, or in Melbourne, Within the 2 to 3 kilometers area from a university, the rent is double than the other areas, because all the students are coming, they need an accommodation, they don't have a PG, and if they are coming there, the rental is going very high. So is a 1 bedroom apartment or a 1 room is going to cost you $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month. Don't you think that it would be an advisable that if you want your child to study in Canada, that and if you have a financial capability, buy an apartment for 4 years time, your child would be living in your own apartment and probably sharing with somebody and generating the income rather than you are infusing the money from here.
Right.
Even I have seen the real estate developers in Western countries. The real estate market of the regular residentials and commercial is going down. Hotel is going down because of the COVID. But the two market which is not going down is the student housing, which is we call it a hostels or a PG. And the second one is the retirement home for the old people.
Right.
This market has shown a continuous growth in every country. So if you are investing money into that kind of a real estate, your growth is, it's always in a double figure.
Right, right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this insight. A very good insight that you have provided us. Thank you, everyone, for joining the call, and stay tuned for our next session on Masterclass, which should be sometime next month, early next month. Thank you very much, and have a good weekend ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much, Nitin and everybody.
Recording stopped.
अभिषेक बेचारा कुछ बोलना चाहता उसने ऑन किया हाँ करने उसने
ठीक है
ऐसे से मुंह खोला उसने